No one will ever be in here, so let me share it all with you. Let me show you my insides. Open me. Open my torso. I'll show you my innards. Get to know me inside out. His grandfather and his younger self was standing with him at a retro diner. His grandmother sat at a booth constantly changing between her old and new self. He told him she was ready for him. He said she wasn't. Is she now? I cried through the halls, taking back roads and off roads, yet ran into those eyes anyways, staring into my heartbroken ones, as a part of me had left the plane we stand in. Your eyes have met mine before, as his continue to seep into my unconscious on special nights, on sleepless days. It's easy to feel lonely when you're not there yourself. Wax feels like warmth. Wax feels like home. French me in my mother tongue, every overswollen taste bud rubbing yours. Sometimes the feeling of my skin can be extremely overwhelming if I find myself to be aware of it. A roll bunches up in an area of my body that used to be concave, a sensation unfamiliar to me. A discomfort I do not wish to think of. I have lost control in the most wonderful way. I almost didn't realize when it happened. The act of purging was my yearly routine to get myself back on track. When the season came, it felt as though it was the wrong answer. Expulsion, excretion to the point of dehydration, fatigue, bile-burnt throat followed by an aching drag to ensure and enhance your self-inflicted pain. Like a pat on the back. There's nothing more comforting than being on the verge of dying and knowing the only person with the finger hovering over the off button is yourself. She forgets most things, as a side effect, she was told. Because I don't care enough, she thought. It's an indescribable amount of shame to wake up lost, unsure of what happened. An expression you have regrettably seen enough to react immediately to. It's okay. She's sorry. Again. Nice to meet you. Again. Do you remember? No. Again. It isn't on purpose. You don't have to. But she is sorry. Again.
Nou, bij mij. Dus doe maar eens één film. Hoe staat het er niet? Mijn vriendin is aan het horen deze keer. Ik heb wel die juicy, wat is dat weer? Meijer of zo'n gewoon. Maar ik vind Blueberries met mij veel. Nee, precies. Jij bent meer van de. Nee, dat is nee, ik van meer dingen van wat die ramen. Ja. Zeg maar, het moet niet te grappig. Ik moet niet de hele dag. Oh, nu heb je seks en kappen.
I walked into a familiar smell many miles away from home. My bare feet gently placed upon a chilly tile, the sun hitting me at exactly the right temperature, cold and warm living together harmoniously. The first time I really saw him was during his presentation. He was showing one of his video works, a compilation of videos of breeding dogs layered with a variety of special effects and a voiceover. I don't remember what it said so well, but I remember perfectly when they turned the lights back on in the cinema room, and there he was, wearing a tie-dye t-shirt and colorful pants. He looked me straight in the eye and smiled the most beautiful smile. We smiled at each other for days after that. The day I held him in my arms for the first time, I wish to never forget. We spent the whole night laughing and talking. I tried to count all his drawings, but they seemed endless. Now it's been a year and a little more, and the touch of his skin still sends me to a parallel world. And he is, and he's there, and he tells me how he feels. And he tells me about his day. He shows me where it hurts, and he tells me why. And I'm still learning how to speak. He guides me and tells me it's all right. And it becomes more every single day. This is the most wonderful pen I have ever encountered. It allows me to write freely and orderly all at once. There's something about writing by hand that makes me happy. It brings a visual satisfaction that I don't achieve on my laptop. It feels familiar, unattached, discardable. This is permanent. It will never go away. Every spelling mistake and every poorly structured sentence left for someone to critique and analyze. Maybe that's why I don't want anyone to see this. There's no hiding in here. The rants written reveal obsessions, emotions magnified by unpleasant situations. It isn't necessarily true. But what is truer than an unedited you from brain to hand and hand to pen and pen to paper? I really don't want to talk about violence right now. I spent a year trying to be politically, socially conscious, and I maybe was, but I am in a moment in my life where I need to come back to who I was. I do not know right now. I'm alone, and I might always be. There's no way to explain to you exactly who I am or who you are to me. A stranger will always be a stranger. Your sister will always be a stranger. Your son, your wife, your dad, your husband, your mom, your dad. You'll never really know anyone except yourself. And that is simply the way that it has to be.